me. So glad to have you joining me again for this show, The Ending and Beginning. So today we are going to use the major arcana and we're talking about the corresponding tarot card for the number of the year that we are in this year. I'm going to cover last year as well. I'm going to show you and us how we are moving forward in this progress on this journey that we are taking. So I started off with the first one because when we begin the major arcana, we start with the Fool. And let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so the Fool card, as you can see, he's holding a white rose. All of his belongings are right here. He's holding them. He's got his faithful companion. Now, I want to talk about the color yellow is about joy. It is a new beginning. Remember, it's the rising sun, okay? This is all new beginnings, and I can go more in depth about each card, but that is a different video indeed. But for this card in particular, this is the beginning of our path, and the beginning of our path is represented by the Fool, and it corresponds to the planet Uranus. And it denotes unexpected changes or events. Now, on this card, we encounter a neophyte that is on the journey of enlightenment. The Fool card is the heart of the human cycle. It is the innermost circle of the wheel as well. So here he is beginning a new path. And it looks as if this new beginning also has an ending. Okay? This card represents the genius, embodying his hopes and dreams, opening up to his destiny, and he's aiming for transcendence. You see, he's looking up. So he's looking into going up and to raising his, transcending, raising his vibration, learning more. Okay? So he tells us to have courage and trust within ourselves and in the unmanifest. And that represents the limitless potential. You see, he's looking up to the sky. He's that divine intervention or that divine wisdom he is seeking. And this is his new beginning. But yes, it's also an ending, because he is fixing to step off of that cliff into the unmanifest. So when we look at the tarot, this is how we begin this march. This is how we begin our journey to this. So I'm going to move him right here, and then we'll talk about a few other cards as we go along. Now, the 7 was 2023. 2 plus 2 equals 4 plus 3 equals 7. And this is the Chariot. Now, this is a beautiful card, and you can see it's being pulled by 2 Sphinx. We'll talk about this in a second. But the Chariot card, its esoteric name is the child of the powers of the waters, or the Lord of the triumph of light. So he's standing outside of a city. You see the wall behind him, and you see the city behind him. So he's going forward on a journey. Before that, we had the number 6, which was the Lover's card. And that energy, it tells us to use discernment. It tells us to really look at the choices that we're making and make sure that our inner energy is working in harmony, okay, in harmony, so that we can master the external factors that we encounter in life. Let me pull out let me pull out the Lover's card. I'll show that to you as well. When we come out of the Lover's card, that's number 6, this is about the it is about the exchange of energy, the giving and receiving. You have man, okay, looking at the woman, which represents that you have consciousness looking at unconsciousness as she is looking to divinity, as looking into, again, looking up, just like the Fool did, okay? To divine messages from the inner self, messages from God, or the higher self, I should say. So I want to get into more of the Chariot. Now, let me blow this up so you can see it better. The Chariot appears to be ready to embark on his journey. Like I said, he's outside this. He's ready to go. He's coming toward us. He's ready. He's ready to go. The Chariot is taking us further into our mission from the Fool card. I'll put the Fool card right there so that we can remember that. Okay? Remember the neophyte on his journey. So now we're going further into that mission. We are fully equipped. We have all that we need. We have been educated from the lessons that we've received, our role in society. We know who we are. And now and also how to use our conscious and subconscious modes of thought. And at this time, we have gained self-awareness. So we have achieved a lot when we get to the 7th tarot card. Now we are educated and prepared for what lies before us. And now we are entering the beginning of understanding the universal laws. And this is where alchemy begins. Associated with achievement and accomplishment and success. The Chariot card has the number 7 on it. And the number 7, which it means sensitive and intuitive. It is an important note here that this number is considered a sacred number by many spiritual philosophies. It also represents the 7 spiritual dimensions, 7 stages of alchemy, the 7 ancient planets, and the 7 chakras. So this card represents an equilibrium on all levels. Equilibrium. This is mastery and victory. But without balance, it can become sacrificial and delusional. Operating in a balanced way, it is spiritual and intuitive and very compassionate. So meaning this is, you're sacrificing yourself for something that you're really unsure of. What are you sacrificing yourself for? Okay? So this is mastery and victory when it is balanced form. And when we say spiritual, intuitive, and compassionate, you notice he has like a wand here, okay? He has no reins. He is controlling with his will, with his mind. He is dressed. He is crowned by the heavens, the stars. So this is a wonderful card to look at. When we go in deep and look at these cards, it's very cool to really see what these cards mean and the actual, what all of this symbology tells us. He's a crowned champion. He's dressed in armor and he sits at the helm of this chariot that is pulled by 2 sphinx. one black one and one white one. And they are ready to go, and they are at rest while making the final preparations. Looking a bit closer at the card, we can see the champion is protected by the chariot as well. Notice that there is a wall behind them and the castle, which represents an enclosure. You see that back there. On his shoulders sits the crescent moons, representing the cycles of the moon in our emotions and our mood. So this reminds us that the way we master our emotions is to create permanent equilibrium, having peaceful emotions within so that we can achieve that harmonious balance within. Now, you can see that it's shaped like a cube. The chariot is a vehicle of manifestation. So the cube of this chariot represents the soul, and this is the vehicle of reincarnation. So all possibilities and experience life can offer us is represented right here. So this is like a furnace, for example. It's like the fire of alchemy, lighting us from within to drive us, our will, forward, embarking on a new path. The Sphinx represent our senses through which we experience the element or the physical world. Like the two pillars that we had in the High Priestess card, white meaning force and expansion, and black representing form and limitation. We are learning to harness our energy and know when we need to keep driving forward or when to stop. Notice that this champion holds no reins because he steers with his mind. He knows that it is by will that he sets his chariot into motion. Power is in the consciousness. On the front of the chariot here, you see an emblem, which is the Shiva Lingam interlinked with the Yoni, which is the masculine and feminine force that moves all things. The masculine is the mental magic, and the feminine is the magic of embodiment. There is a winged solar disc above it that is a symbol loved by Egyptians that meant freedom, liberation, as well as spiritual transcendence. So this represents unity and universality. It is the link between heaven and earth. Okay. There is a starry sky, a little canopy above him that represents the constellations, and his belt has symbols of the zodiac. This advises celestial purposes reflective in physical action. The Sphinx represents our animal instinct, while the emblem above represents the spirit or the spiritual. Below the physical mortal and above the spiritual immortal. This is the secret obtained by overcoming our lower nature, bringing higher spirit into the physical world. Standing outside of the walled city, which represents what we are leaving behind, we are now ready to set upon the path of self-actualization. The chariot is on the other side of the river. See the river behind him? And the city, which connects the stream of consciousness that flows from the High Priestess card, meaning being set free from the sheltering of society that you were born in. The hero is now ready to set out in the world, trained and prepared. He is free. The card symbolizes the triumph of the mind, our inner self, self-discipline, and control. When we allow our lower ego to direct our will, things don't go well. Think about it like this. When we don't open ourselves up to understand the cycles and the processes of the unfoldment of life, it is like the Sphinx are pulling the chariot in two different ways. We have to learn to surrender to ego's control and become receptive to spirit, the ebb and flow of our world. The chariot also represents Apollo, the son of Zeus, driving the sun across the sky. And the sun is a symbol for spirit. It is the vehicle that transports the soul. So, basically, this card is telling us that when we are operating in balance, this is self-controlled, self-confidence, the careful building up of successful existence within the bounds set by conditions of life. So this represents the triumph over life's obstacles. And it reminds us that success is a result of effort, not just good luck. When out of balance, this represents destruction, such as self-destruction. This is self-limitation, instability, engaging in battles that are really no concern, lack of self-control, self-denial. This could be someone acting with a big ego or out of arrogance. When we bring the imbalance in balance, or the shadow into light, we can have greater compassion for others that go through similar circumstances and show greater compassion and understanding. So the chariot itself is very motivational, and it's seen as a catalyst for change. Some people that might be considered like a chariot in a role would be the Knights of the Round Table. Luke Skywalker, for example, for some of y'all fans out there. This card is the energy of lighting the fire within to accomplish great work. Now, that was 2023. And when we look at 2023 at a glance, I urge you to go back and check out some of my astrology that I did, because I was seeing how we were trying to be trapped within some of the older conditioning. We were trying to be told what to do through different kinds of media. We were actually being swayed, and propaganda was actually being used on us. And it was within ourselves to dig down deep and to find within, our inner voice. That's what astrology was talking about, is about being your true, authentic self. That is knowing what your morals are, knowing what you value. We always want to look at that superficial, we always want to look at that surface stuff, but this is not surface. Life is not completely surface. There is deeper meanings. We have to look at the root, okay? I say this a lot. People, even in medicine, we see where they just want to heal the symptoms. They don't want to heal what the problem is. They don't want to heal the root of the illness. And when we don't heal the root, we develop sickness. So we can see a world right now where a lot of people are going through a lot of mental illness because this balance has not been obtained. This imbalance that we have been projected upon, or I should say has been projected upon us, we can see how that has been working in the world. What is going on in our world is not good spiritually speaking. We're seeing an imbalance where we're seeing propaganda of trying to place the sexes against each other, trying to place the conscious and the subconscious against each other. If we are constantly battling that, how can we get anywhere? How can we go forward in any of that? It takes harmony. It takes coming together and communicating. It takes the consciousness tapping into the unconsciousness and seeking direction through the higher self, or through divinity, that universal power, whatever you want to call it. It's about raising our vibration so that we can become we can transcend. We can do better. We don't have to have the egoic stuff. We can see that in the wars that happened as well. The alignments, all the different aspects that were going on. That was a hotbed for that. And it is through that imbalance, the lack of harmony, that we don't get to go forward in more of a transcending way. We have to balance that. So let's go on to our next card, the card of 2024. And that is the Strength card. Now, you notice the background is yellow. Okay. So, and we see the infinity sign, the 8 on its side, right there. There's only 2 other places we see this in the tarot, and that is with the 2 of Pentacles, where you see how the emotions are rocky. And this is saying that, we need to balance those parts of us. And then, of course, we have the Magician, which is right after the Fool, which tells us that we are the masters of our own life, that we are the ones that direct the energy. We have everything before us that we need. We are tapping into that higher source of energy, and we're bringing it down to earth. So I wanted to show you that so you can get an idea of the energy here as we're going into this. So the Strength card, Strength is about fortitude, okay? And the Strength's esoteric name is the Daughter of the Flaming Sword. This is ruled by Leo. And at this point, we have gained self-awareness, and we are now educated and prepared for what lies before us. Now we have stepped up through this. We've got educated. We've prepared ourselves for what lies forward. We have seen through. We've balanced. We've got to harmony and I'm going to say this in a way that maybe you can understand it better, with your left and right brain, the masculine and the feminine brain, that energy. So now we have stepped up to the 8th card, the Strength card. It embodies force and form, okay? This is an alchemical fire, which is readjusting oneself to maintain balance. This card definitely represents perfect order and discipline. The number 8 symbolizes as above, so below. And on its sign, it is the infinity sign. The middle represents, that middle is that balanced point. This number is the eternal rhythm of vibration and harmony laws. So let's look deeper into the card. You'll see this woman is dressed in white, gently holding the head of a lion here. And it appears as if she is lovingly taming him. You see how she looks like she's scratching him, but she's putting her hand like, no, we're not going to go crazy. I know all of us have had puppies that, like to jump or whatever. So you have to teach them. You have to teach them the when to jump up and when not to jump up, that sort of thing. They are in nature, and there is a mountain in the background that represents the great work that we must do in this physical realm. On her journey, she has chosen the lion to be her faithful companion. The lion also represents the sign of Leo, and the gold meaning that he draws his life force energy from the sun. He's like a golden orange here, and that's that fire energy from the sun. This card represents masculine and feminine energies. And if you look even closer, you will see the two are connected by an infinity loop. Okay? of roses and foliage. And those are the same roses that are in the Magician card. The roses represent a harmonious mixture and a very happy connection. This is the marriage of the masculine and the feminine energy. It shows that each needs something from the other, such as yin and yang. So in yin, you will see a touch of yang, and in yang, you will see that touch of yin. But notice, the black and white symbol, how the black side has the white dot, and then the white side has the black dot. That's what I'm talking about. So this is saying that within each of these energy lies the other. Now, the roses and the foliage connect this card to the Magician card, like I stated before. Remember, he was pointing down. Let me bring him up here. He's pointing down to the garden of flowers. So this is the same kind of energy. Both of these cards have calm expressions, and this is the indication that they are being conduits for higher wisdom or a higher will to flow through them. Roses also mean desire, and while the foliage represents like organic growth, the feminine on this card represents subconsciousness. She embodies a place where we are aligned. The subconscious and conscious aid in our personal growth. This orangish, reddish, golden lion represents Kundalini energy as it comes from solar energy. Kundalini energy is life force energy. It is said to be a serpent it's said to be a serpent that sits at the base of the spine, spiraling up the spine, awakening the chakras, aligning the energy to the body. So this card is about befriending a companion on your path that will require loyalty. And it's one that must be proven. So this is like proven loyalty. The Strength card tells us that we should be kind to ourselves, to love all parts of ourselves, to be compassionate and firm at the same time. The card is taming ego through consistency, nurturing, and setting boundaries. And we will achieve great rewards. This card represents Leo, which is a fixed fire sign, as well as the 5th house of pleasure, creativity, and self-expression. The ruling planet is the sun. This is the time when summer is at its height. It is romantic and happy, and its symbol is the serpent, which relates to the spine. So, let me see here. This is a little right through here. So, in saying this, you see the importance of this card this year, this energy. The serpent relates to Kundalini energy, moving through the spine when one does yoga. It lights the fire of our alchemical oven. So this card is associated with the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, the oldest known of the Egyptian gods. She is the warrior goddess who protects Ra during his nightly journey into the underworld. She demonstrates kindness with fierceness. A mythical note here is that it is said that all cat goddesses are related to this card, as well as Rahur Krut, the son of God. The god of the sun, which rules Leo. Sekhmet's name is said to come from Sehim, pronounced Sekim, which means power or might. And it is said that she helps with courage, willpower, self-reliance, constraint, in facing reality and having grace under power. The ancient Egyptian also gave her the title of, one of the titles was before whom evil trembles. When balanced, this card represents courage, strength, control of passion, and defeat of our animal impulses, as well as it represents the synergistic interaction of the mental and the emotional forces. This is awakening the peace within and within ourselves and with others. Having this strength of our life force energy, meaning releasing what no longer serves us and to overcome the physical and spiritual challenges. So this card is about facing our fears head on and overcoming them. Having that strength that I got this, I can do this. When in imbalance, it is selfish, living in fear, self-indulgent. It lacks self-esteem. It's very destructive and aggressive, and there is very violent tendencies, as well as fearing our own power and lacking that self-discipline that helps us go forward and move forward. It also, the imbalance is the inability to control our own impulses, meaning that we just really have no direction. We can't control ourselves. So the biggest shadow of this card is always acting like the victim. It is allowing your power to be taken away from you. So we're understanding here that strength is about overcoming fear and staying centered when challenged. Some mystical people connect this card with Hercules, for example, when he was wrestling the lion. There's one myth you can look at to connect with this card. So this represents those who have mastered themselves, just like the Olympics, for example. Those that perform their expression of creativity. This is about self-mastery at its finest. It is about serious discipline and dedication with creative vision in order to master the lion within you. And this causes a big shift in our consciousness. So for 2024, the Strength card is telling us that we are going to need strength and determination to press forward, and power, like the Chariot. While the Chariot signifies, get this straight, while the Chariot signifies our outer strength and will, the Strength card speaks to the inner strength and the human spirit's ability to overcome any obstacle. Strength is about knowing you can endure life's obstacles. You have great stamina and persistence, balanced with underlying patience and inner calm. You are committed to what you need to do, and you go about it in a way that shows your composure and maturity. See, that's the biggest thing. If we noticed last year, we had a lot of people that were acting out of their immaturity, doing things that were doing more out of selfish desires, out of selfish things, instead of promoting what would be of the higher, that higher thought pattern, that higher possibility. The Strength card is telling us that we have to have that will within us. We need to balance that energy, that higher energy with that lower energy, that animalistic energy. When the Strength Tarot card appears in a reading, it indicates that you are fueled by inner strength, personal power, strong will and determination. And you also don't rule others to control others. It's not about controlling. You quietly influence and persuade. You noticed she's not being ugly. Look at her face. She's very calm. She's very relaxed. She's balanced. Others may underestimate your power because it's so invisible, but you should see that that is an advantage there. So you can, many times this card, when it represents a person, it is about being able to control a situation without excess, without outward force. It's knowing that, it's tapping in deeper and using that compassion and understanding in order to help you go forward in ways that no one knows that you're calling the shots, matter of fact. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. um, energy there. And of course, we take that energy of strength, okay? And then we, let's see here. And then we have to look at each month. So each month, of course, has its own different energy. So for January of 2024, we say the number 8 plus 1, well, that gives us 9, which is the Hermit card. This is an interesting card as well. The Hermit card, his esoteric name is the Prophet of the Eternal, or the Magus of the Voice of Power. Virgo rules this card. Its element is earth. So with the Hermit, we have the archetype of being guided by wisdom and meeting the call of destiny. This is about finding a guide as well as receiving a spiritual name for some of those that are going through that sort of thing. So in strength, we ignited our alchemical process, and now we're at the Hermit, where we are guided to be alone in seclusion so that we can process, we can go through transformation. We have introspection, and this all needs to be done away from the outside world. The Hermit is like a guide that helps shine the light along the way, offering us wisdom and helping us connect to our higher self. He's up here at the top of the mountain. See the snow? He's up at the very top. So he's up there alone, up there with think of higher self. The Hermit reminds us of the inscription on the gate of Delphi. Know thyself. It is by going within, being in solitude, that the illusions can be washed away. When we begin to understand that the universal laws reside within us, that it is with the real, when we understand that universal laws are residing within us, that is when the real delusion begins. This is a point where we start to really understand service, because Virgo is about service to other. So as we have as above, so below, we also have as within, so without. The number 9 on this card is a number of culmination of all the other numbers that have become before it. It is about completion, completion of cycles or ending of cycles. It is the insights and the lessons that we have learned from a previous cycle. Whereas in the Fool card, I'll bring him back. Which is a number of 0, meaning youth and zest for life. So the number 9 is that combination. It's about the experienced and the wise one. I want us to look at the card for a moment. The Hermit is carrying a lamp, which is the light and the darkness. The light represents beliefs, wisdom, truth that comes from experience. There is a 6-pointed star within the lamp, which the 6 rays represent as above, so below. This light represents beliefs and wisdoms and truth that comes from experience of what you've experienced in life. If you look at the 6-pointed star, you see there's a triangle pointing down and a triangle pointing up. So this represents the masculine and feminine energy, as well as the fire and water, spirit and body. The staff that he carries represents the spiritual practices that support us. It represents the middle pillar of the tree of life. The hood that he is wearing is normally a bluish, grayish color that connects him to the high priestess robe, the subconscious mind. So this is saying that he is crowned with the power of the great mind, and he is illuminated with wisdom. His hair is even white. And the gray color here that is blending of opposites, meaning wisdom and oneness. The Hermit represents deeper, wiser aspects that are hidden deep within all of us. And it represents, this is about these hidden aspects. It requires a lot of inner work, such as finding our own place and our own place in this world, our own solidarity, where we stand. The Hermit is standing on top of an icy mountain peak, and he's surrounded by this gray, this darkness, with only his lamp, his own wisdom and truth, to light the way. This darkness represents the unknown parts of ourselves that are hidden, those parts of us that we need to explore so that we can incorporate these different aspects into our lives, helping us to become a whole individual. And this is the work that we're doing. This is January's work. But we have the strength to do it, right? The Hermit has done his inner work. He has climbed the mountain, which represents the great work, meaning that he has awakened. So the Hermit can help us awaken our consciousness to the understanding of the universal laws. He shines a light to cast away the darkness of our consciousness until we reach him on that icy peak. He offers us not only illumination, but he also offers us healing as well. He represents the old saying of ask and you shall receive. But first, we have to find the correct questions to ask. So in essence, you could say that the Hermit card is like having direct contact with our higher self. We have to learn how to set the right conditions in our life to enable us to go inward, to process, to find understanding, for learning what is significant to us. And he advises us that if we can't do that when we are around others, then we need to go away from them and we need to be alone in order to do so. In essence, go inward, connect with the oneness of the divine, and to know thyself. The Hermit's secret name is the prophet of the eternal, or magus of the voice of power. He is connected with that astrological sign of Virgo, which is an earth sign, like I said, which is also a mutable energy. So it's mutable. It's able to work with it. It's flexible. Virgo's energy is the energy for the desire to serve. Virgo is known as the Virgin. It is the 6th sign of the zodiac. It is efficient, and it is about paying attention to details, organization, and creating beauty. The Hermit card is connected to the Magician card that represents Mercury. So the Magician is the inner nature of the Hermit. In the tarot, there are only 3 Magnuses, and that is the Magician, the Hierophant, and the Hermit. So the Hermit card is about illumination, completion, revelation, introspection, responsiveness, realignment, dependability. And he reminds us that it's only by going within that we truly feel what our feelings are versus what's coming from the outside. So in its shadow, in its shadow form, it's about getting lost in fear. Does that sound familiar with everything that's been going on the past 3.5 years? And the living of ego, which has been taking place as well. It is about spiritual emptiness. And again, this is about when it is operating to its detriment. Or spiritual dependence, like that of a guru or some kind of spiritual teacher, always reaching out for something. Something will save you, being dependent upon someone to give you that enlightenment, to tell you what you want, to tell you what's right for you. This is about cutting the cord ourselves off from the world, but not in a healthy way. And this card also represents in its detriment, when it's, usually when people read cards reverse, this is about its detriment. It's about running from your challenges. So the Hermit is a guide that teaches us to seek solitude to find our inner strength, meaning that we have to unplug from the outside world, the propaganda, everything that is telling us what we need to be thinking, what we need to be doing, and how we need to be doing it, and etc. It's about finding our inner strength and become aware of life's natural rhythms. And just like life's natural rhythms, the earth has its own natural rhythms as well. It has its ebb and flow. It has its height and low, right? It has its cycles of becoming warm and then going cold, that sort of thing. So sometimes this could mean that you're at a crossroads. So it's time for a decision that will require contemplation. And this could be happening in January for a lot of people. He advises that we should solve our own problems by listening to our inner voice, our inner light, as well as to know that we are the ones that are living our own life. We are the ones that are walking our own path and nobody else. So we have to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and be happy about that. When the Hermit card represents someone external in a reading, it represents someone that helps you wake up, such as a spiritual teacher or a wise sage. I mean, think of like Merlin. You know, I think he's a good example of the Hermit card. Hermit energy is one of it's about having a life of self-improvement. It's climbing the mountain of the great work, and it is about awakening to the ability to connect to the inner guidance. And of course, you will always need to look at the surrounding cards when you're doing a reading. I understand that. But for this one in particular, this is really, really tapping us into January is going to be one where we're going to have to step back and we're going to have to let go of all of the of what media and all of its different forms are pushing us and decide who we are. I did a video not too long ago about knowing thyself. I urge you to go listen to it. Know thyself. Know thyself. What are your morals? What are your beliefs? What is right and wrong to you? What is it that you love? And so forth. What have you learned through your life? What is coming to a completion? So something that is ending, you know, that is going to take great strength for you to overcome. So yeah, that is the energetic, or the tarot message, I should say, of what's coming up for January of this year, and what the year 2024 represents, as well as what 2023 represented. So I hope you enjoyed that. And we can see here how we'll look back at 2022, we'll look at 2023, and then we look at 2024, okay? And we see how these are playing out, right? But then let's look at January. We have Strength and we have the Hermit. We'll say the Hermit forward, and the Strength is going to be that underlying energy, because this is the energy for the, let me pull this up some so you can see. This will be the energy for the entire year, whereas this is going to be the energy for January. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really do. I love doing this, and I will get a recording for February. February is going to be quite interesting, and January is interesting as well. There's going to be a lot of shifts. So 2024 is going to be an interesting period. So hang tight, everybody, and take care of yourselves. Merry part till we merry meet again.